evening and welcome to This Is The Day. My name is Sarah Otieno. Remember, you can text us on 0786-316-316. That is the WhatsApp number, and the SMS line is 20316. Now, it's the festive season, and I hope you're shouting here, yay! During this time is when we spend money. And if you're not careful, you end up overspending. So budgeting for that one day and the next day, which is Boxing Day, which is just a few days from now, is very important. And today in studio, I have Stella Chepngeno, who will take us through how to budget. She is a financial advisor. And of course, Karibu Stella.
Thank you so much.
How are
Sarah.
you doing?
I'm doing well.
Is Christmas, are you ready for Christmas?
Yes, I'm ready for Christmas.
I can feel the mood everywhere.
Yes, yeah.
But one thing that we need to consider, even as we wait for this big day, is that finances are very important and we need to budget.
Yes.
So before we go into budgeting and all those details,
Yes.
please help us understand and define for us, what is Christmas budgeting?
Christmas budgeting basically is that budget that that you make for that specific 2 days.
Yeah.
I would say 2 days, and again there's also the first New Year that is coming. So it's basically that period of time when there's a lot of celebration. So that is the budget that we are talking about today. That budget that you must have during that season to ensure that we don't get into debts or overspend, and then we have a problem when the new year comes or when the next year comes. So basically it is that period, though it's something that we look at from maybe way back. As we continue discussing, we'll be able to look at it. When should we start budgeting for this Christmas season? But during that period of time, we need to know that I have this amount of money for specific things that I must do during that period of time. So that is the budget that we are talking about during this time.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's just go straight to what you've pointed out.
Yes.
When am I supposed to start budgeting and maybe saving for Christmas?
You are supposed to start budgeting as early as when you begin the year, depending again on what you want to do during that period of time. Because if you are traveling and you need a good amount of money, you need to do that way back. Maybe even 1 year. You can even give yourself 2 years period, depending on just your finances. But let me just talk about during that year.
Yeah.
I always advise that people should start budgeting for Christmas at the beginning of the year. When you are starting January, you need to know how much am I putting aside towards December, because this is what I expect to use during that season. Because it will be again, you will be able to look at what has happened in the past. Is it something that I want to continue with moving forward? How much have I been able to spend in the past? So it will guide you. What you have done in the past will be able to guide you into the next year and be able to know what is it that, and then plan. You must be deliberate. You must plan, because if you don't plan, Christmas just comes. It was January the other day. Now we are at Christmas,
and time flies.
And time really flies. And so if you're not careful, we get into this season and you have no money, and then we get ourselves into debt.
Yeah.
Because you cannot use the December salary to plan for Christmas. That will be tough on you.
Okay.
Yes.
You pointed out something, and most of us fall victim here.
Yes.
You know, in December, most of the companies pay their employees at around 20th Apple. And that is when now we all want to plan for the 25th and the 26th.
Yes.
So most of the time, especially if you are dependent so much on your salary, you will tend to plan for that December salary alone. Yes. So you're saying that is wrong?
No, that is wrong, because you already have other bills that you need to pay. You already have other expenses that you need to pay. You know, for example, rent and other expenses that you have for the month, you must pay for them. So the December salary should just be for the things that you always do, unless you are getting a bonus or from the organization that you are working for, and now you know this bonus is for this specific work. And sometimes the organization can decide there's no bonus that year, so it's not guaranteed again. So that's why I keep saying, can you plan from January? And there are avenues like the SACCO, for example. They have savings plans for Christmas. We have other avenues, our mobile phones. There are so many avenues whereby you can save. We have other places like the money market. You can throw in your money, and you know this money. What is required here basically is the discipline.
Yeah.
I always say if you need to have the commitment, you need to sacrifice, you need to be disciplined, and you must have the patience. So if you know I'll spend 60,000 shillings in December, then you must put aside 5,000 shillings every month. And this is something that needs to be done as a family. So that you know, your spouse know that we are planning towards this, and you need to agree and say, for example, I'm believing people are now setting their goals for next year, and they are saying there are families who are very organized, and they know next year we are going to Maldives. Yeah, Maldives. Or Zanzibar. Let me just pick the easier one, Zanzibar.
Yes.
So you know what will it cost us to go to Zanzibar? And so what are we supposed to do now? Work with people who can be able to help you plan for that, especially the tours and guides companies. They can be able to help you plan for that. So you are already committed to it. So the goals that you set, I always say the third quarter of the year, we should be thinking of the next year. You should be setting goals for the next year. So part of those goals is, how will I spend my Christmas? Because it's very key. And why am I doing it? For example, the people who like going to the village during Christmas, why am I doing it? You must ask yourself, why? Am I going because other people are going? What is your reason for going there? Personally, I stopped going for Christmas to the village during Christmas holiday.
Your mom does not miss you.
She does, but I usually visit her the next year, maybe in March.
Yeah.
Because at that point in time, I'll have time with her. Because my main reason for going there is to be able to spend time with her. Yeah. So what I usually do, I do it at a time when we have less people in the village, and I can be able to see her. Or alternatively, you can bring the people that you love to where you are, if the cost allows you. Okay. So as we even continue, look at what is the match, how and with especially the current scenario, the way the economy is, uchumi ni mbaya. So we need to think really critically and ask ourselves, is it an expense that I want to incur now? Did I plan for it? Do I have that money?
Okay. Instead
of having the situation whereby you want people to see you in the village, but your pocket is suffering. And then there's there are people are hiring. Why are you hiring? Because maybe you want to show off. What is the cost of your show off?
Okay.
Yes, that's those are some of the things that you need to put into consideration. So, and then you remember you are hiring a car for 3 days, 4 days. That car will just be parked or just running around in the village, just people to see you. What is the cost implication? Well, if you have planned for it, well and good. I have no problem. What I have a problem with is what happens when you come back.
Your pocket is suffering.
Yes, if your pocket is suffering, then don't do it. But if you have planned for it, that's why we are here today, just to help people know that you can plan for your extravagance. You can plan for whatever you want to do. Don't tie yourself down and say, now I can't do this, because plan for it. You can still hire the car. You can still go wherever you want to go, but you must plan for it. If it is hurting you, then don't do it. But what we are saying is plan for it, enjoy your Christmas the way you want, but make sure that it is not hurting you.
Okay, let me ask you, Stella.
Yes.
Is it right for me to take a pen and a paper, sit down with my husband, my children, and literally draw a budget?
That is the best way to go about it. If you can be able to bring your spouse and your children to the table and say, okay, where do you want us to go this, let's say 2020 Christmas? So you are agreeing and saying you want to go to Zanzibar. I don't know, I'm just in love with Zanzibar. So you want to go to Zanzibar. What will it cost us to go to Zanzibar? Then what are some of the things that we need to cut off that year for us to be able to afford the Zanzibar trip? Yes. So what is it that we need to cut off during that period of time so that we afford it? Or what is it that we need to do to increase our income for us to afford it? So that way it will even help you when a child asks for something, and you can be able to tell them, remember, we have our goal in December. So we are not going to do, we have to go to Zanzibar. We are not going to do ABCD this time round because of, so you see, you have everybody involved, and everybody will help you to be able to get to the goal that you've already set. So it is very important to involve your family, to involve the children, to involve your spouse, and any other person of importance in your life that needs to know that Like, for example, if you're going to Zanzibar and people are used to you going to the village, the people in the village, especially the parents, need to know that, hey, you know what, we are not coming home this time around, but we'll be able to visit you another time.
Yeah.
Because, or you can include them in your plan if your pocket allows. So for me, I think we need to change our mindset. We've been doing things the way our parents did, the way our grandparents did, and nobody's trying to. Quite a number of Kenyans now have changed that. We are seeing people going to Mombasa, going out of the country to enjoy their Christmas. Some people even go all the way to Italy to just enjoy their Christmas as a family. So again, we need to define how do you want your Christmas to look like, without necessarily looking at what other people are doing, and then budget within that, so that it is something that, for me, Christmas is very important. It's a time to spend with my children. So what is it to you? If it is time to spend with the extended family, then you need to plan. But most important, plan with your family.
Yeah. That's very important.
Yes.
And as you are doing this budget,
Yes.
what are some of the things that are included, or some of the factors that you should consider when you're actually coming up with a plan and a budget?
First and foremost, your income. Yes, how is your income? You cannot be budgeting for something that is beyond your ability, especially in terms of finances. So you need to plan looking at your income. How is your income coming in throughout the year? Is it sufficient for whatever you are thinking? Or you need to cut it out, because things happen along the way. You could be expecting maybe a payment of something, and then it delays, and so that means it delays also. It also makes your plan not work out as you had thought. So also give yourself room for changes. So one of the things you need to consider is income. The other thing you need to consider is, what are some of the critical things that you need during that time? What are the expenses, the specific expenses for that time? What is it that you need to look at that particular point in time? What are some of the expenses that you need to look at that particular? Those are some of the factors you need to put. Am I supposed to incur a cost of transport? For example, how much will it be at that particular point in time? Is it air? Is it road? Do I have if I'm going out of the country, I need a temporary passport, or the passports itself? Do you have it? What is the cost? If you don't have it, what will it cost you to get passport for all your family and every other person that is going there? Maybe there's a renewal fee you need to renew. If you're going with your car, what are some of the what is the implication of that? What are some of the fees that maybe you are supposed to pay? So there are those nitty-gritties that you need to look at in terms of the expense. You must write down the expenses. It has to be very clear. Just like you do any other budget, the budget for December. If you are gifting, what are some of the things that you need to consider? We are still talking about the expense, the cost that you're going to incur. If you are gifting, how much are you going to spend on gifts? Who are you going to gift, and why? Because it must be something that is coming from within. So if you are the kind of person who likes gifting, I know a friend of mine who plans her gifts from January, and she knows I need to gift. She says that she usually gifts people in December, especially the people who are not well off, to just have a meal in December. So if you know you are gifting 10 people, then, and each you are gifting them 2,000 shillings, then start saving in January. 2,000 every month, 2,000 every month, knowing that you're going to gift. So those are some of the things that you need to consider when you're doing your budget. What are the cost implications? How is my income coming? If the income is from my salary alone, then I need to plan. If there's a bonus that is coming at the end of the year, you need to be very sure that income is coming in at that particular point in time. So those are some of the things, the critical things that we need to put into place. Every nitty-gritty. If the children need new clothes, that's another expense. Can you afford? Or a long time ago, especially if you are going to the village, there are things that the shopping that you have to take to the village, and I've seen people what we take to the village. It was going around in the social media, and what we take out of the village, that mathematics is not balancing. So again, you need to know that how much am I supposed to to spend if you are going to the village in terms of the things that you are taking there, so that also you don't become you don't take too much from that side and you have taken too little. So all those things, depending on where you are going, accommodation. Plan for that's another expense. If you are going out of the country or you are going to spend in an hotel, those are nitty-gritties, and accommodation can really eat up on those transport and accommodation is very key if you are going out. So those are some of the things that you need to factor in and say, is it possible? Can I afford it now? Can I postpone it to the next? And then the reason why we were saying we involve family is because it might reach a point whereby we need to postpone. Let's say something came up within that time. The other thing we need to consider is emergencies.
Because they happen.
They happen. Someone can fall sick in wherever you are, and maybe the card cannot work at that particular point in time. The car can break down. You need to have planned for all those emergencies and other things that come up. You know, Christmas is just Christmas. So also the things that you need to factor in as you or consider as you plan or as you budget is one of them is those emergencies. And then, of course, miscellaneous. You can't miss a grandfather, an uncle, an auntie who'd want to see, you know, when you see them, of course, definitely you need to buy them something. So what I usually say is if you are going, for example, to the village, have bulk, do shopping in bulk. So that if you have a bale of unga, definitely you're not going to use all of it. So if you're visiting, maybe you will need to visit an auntie or you need to visit even a neighbor, just carry
a packet
a packet or two plus. So it depends on how you plan, and every person have their own plan. What is most important is you need to start early, so that you don't get strained during the season of Christmas.
But can there be a case where we have planned?
Yes.
We are really ready. We have the budget, but we're not going as per what we planned.
Yes. That is why I say give yourself room for adjustments. It's not cast on stone. So if you had budgeted to go to Zanzibar and you realize that things aren't moving the way they are, you need to sit down and agree, where do we go? Or how do we change our plan to fit what the circumstances that we are in right now? So flexibility is very key when you're doing a budget. It's not cast on stone. Even your daily budget that you do on a monthly basis, it's not cast on stone. And the other thing is just be able to see what has happened in the past.
So compare.
Yes, what has changed in between. For example, you had a job maybe the previous years. I mean, let me use an example. Where I worked before I retired, I always say I went for early retirement. Where I worked, I used to get a bonus every year. I knew that 15,000 shillings was just shopping for my parents. So 45,000 shillings, I would do whatever I want to do with it. But I knew 15,000 shillings was when now things changed and I retired and I am out here doing business. That has changed.
The money is not coming in anymore.
The money is not coming the way, that one I was almost sure that I'll get a certain amount of bonus at the end of the year. And that has changed now. So I've also shifted and started thinking, how else can I give to them? How else can I plan for this? Not necessarily on Christmas Day, because also everything goes up. Remember, everything goes up. Even gifts, buy them early.
And that is something that we should consider. The prices on the market.
The prices go up. Everything else go up. So plan in advance. If you're going for holiday, when you start in January, the rates will be far much lower than when you go planning at the end of the year. The other thing is gifts. You can start buying them one by one, so that by the time it is August, you should be done with those, because things go up. Right now, when you go buy something, someone just tells you it's this amount of money, and there's nothing about it.
That's very important.
Very important, yes.
But as we are planning this, should we have a limit?
Definitely.
Should we just work and say that the Lord will provide? The Bible says.
Yes,
Or should there be a standard where we say we cannot pass past this?
Yes.
We cannot do this beyond this.
Yes. I know God is a God of order. He loves order. If you read the book of Luke, chapter 14, verses 28 to 30, that is when it give you that consideration of planning. That you cannot start something without really thinking through whatever you want to do, so that you don't end up, hanging, or you don't finish what you had planned, and then people will be laughing at you. Just read that verse. Then for me, what you need to do is you need to know. That's why when you do the budget, you'll be able to know that our limit is 100K. And in that 100K, I'm just using 100K or 200K or 300K, even half a million, depend on how much you want to indulge and how much income you've got. There are people who spend $1 million for Christmas. I mean, for them, that is what they are budgeted. And I agree with them. It's not a bad thing. So what we need to do is we need to put a limit, because if we are not careful, we can be extravagant during that season. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of emotions involved. At that point, we cannot tell you be objective. In other things, we can tell you be objective. When it comes to Christmas, because of the emotions involved, we can be a bit, we become emotional, and then we tend to make decision emotionally. So you've met this auntie that you've never met for a very long time, and you decide to chuck out a whole 10,000 shillings and give to your auntie, and you are not budgeted for that. So again, it will tend. So we need to have a limit and say, when I go out there, I will give to people 2,000 shillings. That's my maximum that I can give someone, and it is within a budget of 10,000. So you can give to like five people. So we must put out limits for ourselves. And if you feel like it's not working for me this year, I always say it's about you. It's about how you'll feel the next year. People will be laughing at you if you become extravagant. So please limit. If it's not working this year, just accept that it's not working this year. Move on to the next year. Plan for the next year. So I'm just encouraging those people who maybe had not planned themselves and they are killing themselves right now. Remember, the cost of traveling also goes very high.
Yes.
Both car hire, the planes, the other transport, the public means. So we need to be very keen during this season, and just ask yourself. I keep saying, go back to yourself and ask yourself, what damage will it make on me? If you feel that it's a damage that is too big, then avoid it. Nobody will kill you because you didn't go home. Nobody will kill you because you didn't have an holiday. Just plan something that works for you. So there has to be limits. Let's just give ourselves limits and say, this is my budget for this season. And that is what you'll work with.
There's some people who are really extravagant.
Yes.
And especially this one day. I mean, it comes once a year.
Yeah.
So you want to spoil yourself.
Yes.
Want to buy yourself all these gifts and all that. But there are repercussions of not budgeting and all that. So kindly take us through what will happen to us if we do not budget starting next year, because I know some of us have not budgeted.
Yes. Yeah, we need to understand that there is something called spending habits that each individual of us has, and again, it is something that comes because of so many other things: the beliefs we have, how we grew up, the socialization process, the temperaments that we have. So it really affects how we spend our spending habits. So first of all, know what kind of a person you are.
Yes.
If you have the kind of person who when they have money in their pockets, it burns them and they have to really remove it, then you really have to plan yourself from that point of view. And I keep saying, if you know you are someone who can get the school fees and use it for Christmas, pay the school fees early. You should have paid. Pay the school fees now. Pay all your bills now. Clear all your bills. Remain with the balance. Then now spend the balance. So what you need to do for such kind of people, if you know yourself very well, if you know you are not disciplined, because not all of us are disciplined, just pay the bills. Just pay the bills. Just pay the bills. Pay the bills. Make sure that whatever remains now, you are not regretting. We are not seeing you being thrown out of your house in January because you've not paid rent. So pay the rent. Do everything that you need to do. Then the balance is what now you do whatever you want to do with. The second thing I would say is work hard. Can I say work hard, work smart, and try to think of other avenues you can make more money. Don't just depend on one source.
Don't
and I
just
keep
remove and not bring in.
I keep saying, if you are in this country at this season, you must have 3 sources of income to survive. And then the other sources of income is for investment and all that. But at least 3 is for survival. So if you want to enjoy your Christmas, then you must go the extra mile. I hear people talk about the side hustle. Then you must be having side hustles that are giving you good money that you can say, you know what, even if I spend this money from side hustle, I'm still safe on this one side. And again, think about the pain you will go through if you become too extravagant. Think about the pain. Let the pain be what makes you not even spend a single cent on things that you are not planned for.
Yeah.
The pain, the stress that you will go through. Seeing your children at home, they haven't gone, or they're being chased out of school because you don't have school fees. It's not that you didn't have the school fees. It's because you spend all of it.
Yeah.
So I'm encouraging every parent listening, every other person listening, do the bills. And then let's start thinking of other ways of making money. Yeah, let's not just focus on one source of income. If the employer does not pay you on time, can you still go for Christmas?
You should.
You should.
Yeah.
Because you have already budgeted for that and you have planned for that. And you knew way from... It's just like a pregnant woman. You knew in 9 months' time, I'm delivering.
Yeah.
So you can't tell... You cannot have nothing at the delivery because you knew 9 months down the line. Someone whose child is going to school at 4 years or at 3 years, whichever time you want to take the child, you can't tell me that you don't have school fees for your child, you don't have money to buy the school uniform. You can't, that would be very difficult because you already saw it coming. It's not an emergency. Christmas is not an emergency. And please, guys, let's not spend.
Okay.
Let's not overspend.
Continue sending in your prayer requests. Hey, this is the day is up again with me, Sarah Otieno, and today we are talking about budgeting for that 1 day or 2 days, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and also that 1 day where we cross over to the new year. And in studio I have Stella Chepngeno, who is a financial advisor. And Stella,
Yes.
there's a part
Yes.
where now we are preparing
Yes.
and having the budget. What is the process of making and preparing this budget?
One of the things is you need to write down the activities.
Yeah.
I keep saying write down all the activities that you want to happen during that season. Put the cost implication for every activity. For example, like the way we had talked about the transport, put how much will it cost you. Put a budget. A budget could be, maybe you're putting a budget of 50, but maybe eventually you will spend around 30. So you'll have saved like 20. I'm just, that's an example. Put the budget for accommodation if you're traveling to a place whereby you'll need to pay for accommodation.
Yeah.
Put a budget for food and entertainment. Every other thing, list them down, no matter how small they are, because you remember this. It is the small holes that sinks the ship. So you need to put everything literally in that paper, and just write down, this is what we're gonna spend. These are the activities that for that, and these are the items that we'll need on that particular time. Put the cost, and then put the timelines when you want to have saved towards it. So we are saving towards the transport, or you can put a lump sum amount, or you can decide, let's start small as we continue building on it. So we know we have already hit one, we have already done this, we have already done this. Put those timelines, because it is very critical. At what point do you want us to say, now we are ready for Christmas?
Yeah.
For example, most people do a timeline of October. By October you are done. Yeah, by October you are done. So November and December is the November basically is bridging that gap.
Yeah.
Of what is it that is left. And then of course, once you have write down, review. Keep reviewing, because like I said, things keep changing.
Yeah.
So you can review and decide, no, we were to go to Zanzibar again, but now we can't go. We'll go to Naivasha, for example, and spend a night there or two.
Yeah.
Because what we had planned was we could not be able. So you can be able now to cut down and say, now the transport has come to this, and what is it that we have put aside? So you're checking towards what you have already put aside and what and your plan. So you are comparing and seeing, is it workable? So that review part of it is very critical, because once you review, you are able to know, am I on track?
Yes.
And all these requires a lot of discipline. I usually say, look at the trade-offs. If I don't plan well, what happens? What happens to me? That means I'll go through a lot of stress. I'll not be able to enjoy the Christmas the way I want, and all that stuff. So you need, like, for example, if you are planning to travel and you don't plan well for transport, for example, you really struggle, and you will go through stress. You won't enjoy the holiday.
Yeah.
So the essence of all things, writing down, reviewing occasionally, is just to ensure that we enjoy that season. That's the basic. We don't want during that season you are thinking, hey, how will I go back? I don't have the money to go back because I blew it all on clothes, for example. Yeah, and there are things that we it's not a must that we do them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a must that we do them. If you feel I've come, maybe as you grow and as you mature, you come to terms with situations. Personally, I look at situation and I say, is it possible now? Yes. If I say yes, okay, I move on with it. Is it possible now? No. Sometimes I give an explanation. Sometimes I don't give an explanation.
And it's okay.
And
not
it is
to give an
okay. Yeah. So
explanation.
we need to get to that point whereby we need to say, is it okay now? Can I do it now? Is it possible now? Can I do it now? And then you make a decision because that decision affects you and the people around you and your family. So if you are the head of the family and you make a decision that is detrimental to the rest of the family, you remember what it affects. It doesn't just affect you, but it affects everybody else.
Yes.
So we need to look at prepare and like I say, write them down. There's a power of writing something down. There's a power of writing something. So write them down, review them. Like I said, some people are planning for their next year holiday. Right now, yes. They're planning for next year because they had already planned for this year, and they're on track and they already know where they are going. They've already paid the bills. Most people are finishing paying their bills.
Yeah.
And they know how they're going to enjoy the Christmas. Some will just decide we are going to stay in the house and have fun because maybe they went on their holiday
a bit
earlier.
Yeah.
And then it's just that happens. It is how do you want it to be for you and the people around you? Yeah, so it's setting that goal and saying that our Christmas, it should be a culture within your family. I say, during our Christmas, this is what we do. Let me just share something that has come to my mind right now. Yeah. If you are a family whereby your culture is that we must meet at home over Christmas holiday, maybe the whole family will go home now. That is the only time that you have, because some people, it's the only time they get enough time or even a break from their work. So you can decide as a family, you plan for that gathering.
Yeah.
As a family.
And involve everyone.
Meaning you involve your brothers and sisters. You involve your parents and let them know where they are coming in, if they must come in.
Yeah.
But the rest of the people who are earning and they have income, they can be able, now we can decide, we are buying, you can buy the cow early enough.
Yes.
Maybe in early enough so that you can maybe even fatten it instead of because before the prices are going up. What you're trying to see also is cutting cost.
Yeah,
we don't have to spend all that money at that particular point in time. Let's also save. Let's see how we can save even. So you can the people who like the chicken, you can start rearing them as early. Yeah, I've seen people who do that as early. One way you rear them to eat them, and at the same time you can sell to other people who did not think about it in that kind of a manner.
Yes.
So look at opportunities also in that season. So prepare. And preparing helps you cut cost.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when you talked something about discipline,
yes,
and it just reminded me that we talked earlier about saving monthly.
Yes.
If you want to save monthly, so having that discipline to actually stick to your word that this month, I'm putting aside 2,000 Kenya shillings. That is also part of discipline.
Yeah, it's discipline. And what I usually say is have a standing order. If the money is coming to account, wherever you want that money to go, you can open a different account, or you can save in money market or other avenues like the SACCO. Let it go. And I usually encourage people, wherever it goes, let it also have a growth.
Yeah,
let it have a growth. Let it not just remain there. That's why I'm encouraging people to save in places whereby their money will also grow. So have a standing order. Other ways is to get it straight from the salary. Yeah, for extremely those people who have no discipline at all, and there's nothing we can do, we only pray for them. Just save from that point of deduct from the salary if you are earning a salary.
When it comes,
before the salary comes to my account, please deduct all those things. So that whatever comes to my account is my money. I can do whatever I want to do with it. Yes. So that way you create the discipline. Discipline is a choice. Discipline is a choice. You can decide not to be disciplined. You can decide to do whatever you want the way you want. But every choice you make has repercussions. So you ask yourself, do you want to every year you are suffering because you did not plan yourself for December well? If that is your choice, then too bad for you.
You will
But,
suffer.
Yeah, you will suffer. But they say time teaches us things.
Yeah.
So you will suffer the first time, you suffer the third time, you don't want to suffer. Yes, and yes.
And talking of that,
Yeah.
is it right for me
Yeah.
as a parent, as a
Yeah.
family person, to compare my last year budgeting
Yes.
and what I want to do this year and maybe the next year? Is it right?
Very right. It's good for me. I always say it helps you to know what the exact amount you might need during those seasons.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, things change. So you need to know, if I spent 200,000 last year for Christmas, then I have to put a markup. Like now, I will spend like 250
Yeah.
because maybe the cost and also where I want to go for Christmas. So if the good thing is when you have a good record again, like I say, write down. You can even have your Christmas book. Why not? You know, and say that last year this is, you have what you call a recap point where you sit down and say, okay, we had planned for this is what we were able to spend this year. So you are very clear, the budget versus the actual. You don't need to be an accountant to do that. Anybody can do that. Someone who can read and write, you can be able to sit down and say, this was what we had budgeted, this is what we spent.
What I spent.
Yeah, so next year you are very clear that we bust our budget by 20,000. So you budget for that 20,000
For an extra 20.
Yeah, an extra 20. Plus, you also might also bust the budget based on maybe things have increased, the cost of living has gone slightly higher than the last year. So it is good to compare. It helps you get a trend on how things will moving forward, and also it will help you to know which areas can we cut down. Apart from increasing, you can also say which areas did we do an extravagant, how can we cut down, or how can we save, try and see how we can, like doing things earlier on. Like if you're booking an hotel, you book early so that you cut on when there are times when they're advertising offers, so you save on that. So there are things that you'll now have to say, this year we did this, it didn't work for us, the cost went really high. Next year now we need to plan in a different way so that we also cut costs. So it helps you in both ways. Yes.
So for those who did not budget for this year, is there hope for next year?
Yes, there is hope for next year. If you have heard this voice, it is only good to be obedient.
Yeah.
Just we try and fail, but we never. The best thing is never fail to try. So keep trying. Again, it's a habit that you have to create.
Yeah.
Habits, we create them. It takes time. And sometimes you create that habit and you break it, and then you create again and you break it. But the thing that I've learned in life is be deliberate.
Oh, yes.
Be very deliberate. Choose to do it. And always ask yourself, if I don't do it, what are the repercussions? If you don't wake up to come to work, for example, Sarah, who will present the show?
No one.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we have to be able to be very deliberate and know that if I don't plan well for Christmas, my children will suffer. They will be looking at the window and seeing other children having dressed well and enjoying, and yours are not. So we need to plan well with the little that we have. I always believe that the little we have, if we do the right thing, God has blessed it already, so we will be able to do much with it. If you know your income is this little, plan for that and just know that you will enjoy. What is most important? It's the happiness and knowing that this is the birth of Christ and having. So choose what works for you.
Yes.
Let's not be in a competition with anybody.
Yes.
Most people suffer. I think it's good we talk about it because you're in budgets. Most people suffer because they're in competition. So, Sarah, you've seen Stella's family go to Dubai during Christmas, and then you're pushing your husband and telling we must. Akina Stella went for Christmas and all that stuff. So let's not be in competition, because we also put a lot of unnecessary stress on ourselves. Let's work with what works for us at that particular point in time. But also let's work towards improving or defining or setting goals on what really it means for us to be during that season. So, and again, we can't do anything without the cash. Yes.
Wow,
improve on the cash flow.
Improve on the cash flow.
Yes.
Make sure you get more money coming into your account.
Get more money. I keep this my gospel is can we have as many income streams as possible, as per our verse in Ecclesiastes chapter 11 verses 2 and also 6. It says invest in 7 ventures or 8, for you do not know what calamity will come on the land.
Yes.
So the same thing we are saying, let's let's have many sources of income so that we can enjoy the Christmas the way we want.
Oh, yes.
Because we not be straining and all that, and of course we have enough income to be able to budget for what we want at that particular point in time.
Well, thank you so much. I have learnt a lot clearly on how to make next year better.
Yeah.
And I hope you have learnt too. And if you did not budget for this year, not all hope is lost. You can start right now to budget for next year, of course.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in to This Is the Day. My name is Sarah Otieno, and I wish you a happy season.